Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about one of the most highly anticipated returns to Path of Exile, and that is Sentinel coming back in the Blast of the Past event happening starting tomorrow at this point. So Sentinel's been one of the most highly requested features to come back in the game. It got taken out immediately after its league was over. Didn't really have a good way to come back. Finally getting it back here along with Lake of Kalandra. So, good with the bad. But Sentinel League has brought us excellent crafting stuff, excellent just like gameplay, mapping felt super good, and should come back just the way exactly it was. So we're gonna go over what Sentinel is, touch on Lake of Kalandra. It wasn't that well received when it first came out, but I think that was due to other circumstances. So we'll talk about that as well. And yeah, let's go over Sentinel and Lake of Kalandra and what we're gonna do for the next 7 days in a super fun event late in the league here. So if you like this video, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button down below, check out the Twitch channel down below, twitch.tv/works, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think Sentinel. Sentinel should be really fun, so let's jump into it. Blast from the Past, quick overview. It's going to be a 7-day league featuring Sentinel and Lake of Kalandra on every map. I read through this post pretty hardcore. All I can tell is that Sentinel and Lake of Kalandra will be on every single map area, just as if they were both the league mechanics for this event. So awesome. The big news here is the league is not voided, so all Recombinators, all items from Sentinel and Lake of Kalandra, and the items you get will go to standard. If you're a standard player, this is kind of huge. Recombinators from Sentinel League made some of the best gear possible. Lake of Kalandra actually had a cool crafting mechanic too, people kind of forgot about, but here we go. I think the biggest note here is that both these leagues were plagued by Arch Nemesis mods being way overtuned when they first came out. Arch Nemesis is gone, so we'll see how these do. Lake of Kalandra had probably one of the worst retention rates because of how bad Arch Nemesis has got during it. And we will see how that affects the game. I think it'll be a lot smoother. So we're going to touch on Lake of Kalandra first. Lake of Kalandra is the lesser mechanic of the two. It is not as strong. It wasn't super rewarding. I compare it super similar to Sanctum when it came out. Not Sanctum as we have it now, where you pick up an item and go do Sanctum. The way Lake of Kalandra works is you will approach a tablet every map. It'll look like this section here. This is your mirrored tablet. You're going to make a path. This is a starting zone. You'll make a path. Eventually, you'll run out of tablets. And then you will get a map, basically, to run this path. The longer the chain is, the more difficult it gets, but the more rewarding. The biggest problem of this league mechanic was not that it wasn't fun or wasn't good. It just wasn't rewarding at all. So you did the same problem with Sanctum, where you would go map. It would take you 10 maps. You can see how many tiles here. You get 1 tile map, and you wouldn't get any rewards to go then do this map. So it felt really unrewarding that way. The cool things it had some Paradise tiles, which are super rare. Paradise tiles basically gave you a huge XP boost during Lake of Kalandra. These tiles were used for XP boosting more than 5-ways were, and that was the old version of 5-ways, which were super good. So just keep that in mind. If you get a late start, maybe there's something you can do. If I have a friend who has a Paradise tile in a mirror tablet, if you're a day or two late in the event, you can probably do that. But the biggest cool thing about Lake of Kalandra was Kalandra actually appearing in these lake maps. If you got a big chain, she was more likely to appear in later stages. You see there's 4 notches here. These were considered the stronger tiles at the time, more rewarding. And they had a chance to drop Kalandra, for Kalandra to show up randomly. So Kalandra would give you this option to reflect a ring or an amulet. And basically what it would do is I believe it would double all the stats on the ring, and but either make them positive or negative. So it would either multiply them by 2 or -2. Just kind of randomly. Sometimes the negatives were good, sometimes the negatives were really bad, obviously. So this was kind of just big RNG fest. But I think this will interact interesting with Recombinators. We didn't have Kalandra and Sentinel together, obviously, last time. So interacting this with Recombinators could get really interesting. Last thing I want to note is Kalandra is considered quite challenging, especially if you've got a really long tile set. It was pretty difficult to clear. That being said, that was also largely juiced by a horrible Arch Nemesis mods that were happening at that point. So maybe it's a lot easier now. We'll find out. All right, into the juicy stuff, which is Sentinel League. So Sentinel, I'm going to go over this kind of as close as I can. I don't have any old footage of the gameplay, so I'd show you from Sentinel League. But Sentinel will start with, you get this passive controller right away. It's basically appeared on your character sheet as another passive tree, of course, classic DDG, but another passive tree. The big tip here is to start leveling this thing early. You don't want to, it's really tedious to go back and start leveling it later. Just just takes longer. You can basically pop a Sentinel every map. Big thing here is that you'll see that basically there's like 3 colors of Sentinels, and you don't end up getting enough points to fill out the whole thing, so you kind of want to prioritize 2 of the Sentinels and get them fully juiced up, and we'll talk about which ones I think are the best in a second here when we talk over the Sentinels. And here we are. So there are 3 Sentinels. I just call them red, blue, yellow. They actually have names: Stalker, Pandemonium, and Apex. Red, blue, yellow is way easier. The red one is probably the most common one. It just kind of pops up. So probably start with what Sentinels actually do. When you're in a map, you can just press the Sentinel button, and your Sentinel will start following you around, and it'll do what it's supposed to do. Pretty simple. It targets enemies, makes them stronger, based on what type of Sentinel you use and the mods of your Sentinel. So the red Sentinel would passively just sit above you and fire kind of randomly at enemies, make them more powerful, more rewarding. Pretty simple to understand. It would either go until all the charges are used or until the timer on the duration of the Sentinel is gone. Second one is the blue, the Pandemonium Sentinel. This would do 1 shot, but it would chain to all the enemies. So it would be really common to like gather up the big enemies area, press your blue, get your red going, kind of like buff it up, and then press your blue, and then you could get like double buffed. So super good common, really good farming strategy. And the last one though is yellow. Yellow is the same as the red one, except it would have less charges and it would only target rare and unique enemies. So it would make them much, much stronger. This was hardly ever used because of Arch Nemesis mods, and it wasn't super rewarding. You just kind of wanted more instead of less. That being said, I'm still going to go with that strategy. We prioritize red and blue and use them together. There are also unique Sentinels, but there were not really much use for them. I don't remember them offering any really good rewards. So I'm just going to not talk about them, but if something cool happens or something's needed from there, we'll mention it in a future video this week because I'm going to be playing this a lot. So you'll see that each Sentinel had their own like naming system. They got more powerful as they went on, and there's a ton of them. You'll notice that your mods will get better as you get stronger Sentinels. The other cool thing about Sentinels was power cores. So power cores drop from Sentinel empowered mobs. You'd use these power cores to combine 2 Sentinels together and just kind of smash their mods together, seemingly randomly, but it's kind of like you can kind of figure it out. It was random but predictable. Basically, you'd save your Sentinels, even if they're fully used. You could save them if they had good mods on them to combine them with another one that was fully used. The good mods, combine them, you'd end up with a pretty good Sentinel. It sounds confusing once you pop the screen open. This will make a lot more sense. Basically, you just take two Sentinels, destroy them, make 1 stronger Sentinel, hopefully. Unfortunately, there was a bit of randomness to this. Other big item, and this is probably the biggest reason people are excited for Sentinel, is that Sentinel charged enemies dropped Recombinators. These are used for high-end crafting. So as you look for a guide, you can get super into the nitty-gritty details of this. Basically, you take 2 items, you smash them together, and pick randomly from the mod pools of prefixes and suffixes, and you get a new item. It wasn't totally random. There's percentages based on it. It's way too long for like a TLDR video. Feel free to look it up. It was talked about a ton during Sentinel League. I'm sure those videos are still out there. That being said, you can do this. There are 3 different combinators: armor, weapon, and jewelry. So you can do this on all of your items. This creates some of the most powerful items in Path of Exile. It's a super good way to put mods that normally were really hard or difficult to get with each other into the same item. That being said, these are still used quite often in Standard. I checked the prices on them. You'd sell like a stack of these for like a Divine. Was the last I checked, but that was Standard. Who knows if people are actually even responding. That said, I would just have fun crafting with these, but if you do play Standard, obviously save these up. They're quite powerful. So my plan for the league, which I'm pretty excited to talk about, is I'm going to play softcore trade. Usually I play like HCSSF for these like 1 week leagues, because like when the character's done, I'm done. But I actually have a goal. I want to make a high-speed map blaster. Sentinel was super fun for blasting maps, and I think it's even more fun with the new Atlas passive tree, the Atlas, and just being able to use my packs even more with Sentinels. That'd be super fun to me. If you play Standard, you're probably going to gather as many Recombinators as possible. That should probably be your goal if you are a Standard player. I'm not. It's not really my goal. I'm hoping that maybe Lake of Kalandra got buffed. Is probably big copium. It was really unrewarding. I'm hoping that it's more rewarding now. We'll see. I'll give it a try probably like once or twice. If not, I'm just going to be smacked back into Sentinel. But I'm actually going to do a challenge for myself this league where I'm going to try to make as much this event, make as much currency as possible in a week. I think the trade league is actually going to be super popular just because of how fun Recombinators were, how many people enjoyed them. So I think we'll have a good chance that the trade economy is going to be super good even in softcore. And I'm gonna go and just make like a map blaster Deadeye, figure like how fast can I go and get as much currency as possible in a week. That being said, last thing I was mentioning, just remember to have fun. It's a 1 week event. Unless you're playing standard, the fact that it's voided doesn't really matter. I don't play standard, so I believe it's not super popular. But if you do, this is probably the best event you've had in a long time. Other than that, make sure to check out the Twitch stream. I'll have it down below. We'll be streaming this event a lot this week. And then remember to hit the subscribe, comment, like button down below. And other than that, thanks for watching. I'll get you next time.